Wise. Fancy. Wise. Fancy. Wise.
So saith the wise among them.
Welcome back to Mages and Murderdads, the show about the Baldur's Gate games. I'm Cameron, I play Tucklebar Sorcerer.
I'm Danny, and I play Balthazar, the Barbarian, the Fighter.
I don't like it.
Yeah, it just doesn't roll off the tongue anymore.
It doesn't. It's just not the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough. Is this the end? Are we here?
This is you tell me. What's happened in the plot of Baldur's Gate 3 so far?
Okay. So, Baldur. He founds Baldur's Gate. He goes on some
way back.
Okay, hold on.
AO created Toriel.
Further back. Ed Greenwood is born.
Okay.
No, but yeah.
I mean, he was. Don't say no. That's true. That did happen.
That did happen. We're not conspiracy theorists on Ed Greenwood like being a construct or something.
Like Ed Greenwood truthers. He was made up by Wizards of the Coast to justify their creation wholesale of a world so chock full of weird decisions that someone needed to be blamed for it.
Here's the thing. Wizards are real. They made Ed Greenwood, but Wizards of the Coast is trying to keep that secret.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So they're trying to sell this idea that Ed Greenwood made up the wizard, when in fact it was the opposite.
You're blowing my mind right now.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, let's do the one without Baldur. Basically, we are a protagonist. We had a parasite implanted in our brain. We went on a wild series of adventures trying to get to the bottom of it. There was a very convoluted plot to implant these parasites in our noggins in order for three figures representing the dead three of Merkel, Bane, and Ball to rule the world. To they tried to enslave an elder brain using a magical artifact of some kind, and they were pretty successful overall. And well, here we are. We've deposed those three figures, and now all that stands between us and confronting the elder brain that they imprisoned with the magical artifact is a little cutscene, because we've got the gems that control the crown. So all we got to do is we just got to go to the end of the game area. We got to pop into there, and then we're made in the shade, right?
We're made in the shade. Yeah, we're made in the shade.
Yeah. We're good.
We're good. We're good.
Yeah, we're fine. We've got the gems, right?
I've got the gems.
Perfect. Excellent. All right. So we just pop down to the sewers, right? We go to the Morphic pool. We hop in this little dinghy, right? That's how you get to an elder brain.
First, you got to fight a bunch of little rats.
That's true. Well, I don't think you have to, actually.
What do? Aren't they? Don't they bite you on the old noodle?
So you've got a full party of God knows how many people, and they all probably have pets at this point, following them around. One of them,
none of them have pets.
Oh, okay. One of them's not constantly being followed around by animated skeletons that you summon at the beginning of the adventuring day. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's why the rats attacked you, but I just kind of scooted along. I saw that the rats had a bad vibe, and I decided not to mess with them.
You saw that the rats had a bad vibe?
Yeah.
Well, they do. Well, the only reason I bring that up is I think isn't this the third game now where cranium rats are?
They love a cranium rat.
Just think that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if the ones we met in. No, you're right. These are cranium rats, and we have definitely experienced cranium rats before.
In Planescape Torment,
That's right.
other places.
So I hop into the dinghy and I get moseying, and lo and behold, I guess I'm bad at being in a rowboat. Is that your read of this cutscene?
I'm bad at, but yeah, probably. I mean, some sort of angry whale comes up and knocks you out of that thing.
Yeah.
It is interesting, I guess, that there's a lot of boats are a tumultuous thing to deal with in the Baldur's Gate-averse.
Correct.
Have we been on a boat yet that didn't end in a problem? Has there been a non-problematic boat in a Baldur's Gate game so far?
No, the point where you're seeing it, it's bad.
Yeah, you don't want to be involved in it.
Yeah, it's
boat, in a quote-unquote boat.
no good.
This boat is no good. But
Absolutely no good.
we like fall into the water.
Yeah,
Right?
we fall into the water and then we go to a mini dungeon with a bunch of intellect devourers and other little creatures and critters, and you can mess around down here, but it's definitely illithidified, right?
I mean, weirdly enough, I can't. How do we get into this dungeon? I don't know.
we get into the dungeon because our dinghy is knocked askew by a force of some kind, and
Correct, and we fall in the water.
and we fall in the water, and then we get out of the water into the dungeon. So it's like
We,
on
like,
a
wash
distant
ashore?
shore. Yeah, yeah.
Got it. Okay, I just couldn't remember that part.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Classic washing ashore movement here.
Yeah, sure, I get it.
It's so good, Larian had to do it twice in the game.
That is true.
So, mini dungeon. If you saved it, the little intellect devourer from the very beginning, you can re-recruit it again here.
Okay.
I didn't do that, so I didn't meet him.
Yeah, I don't need to do that.
But anyway, eventually you work your way through this little mini dungeon, and we go to confront the Elder Brain, which it's basically rising up from this morphic pool. And, Baldur's Gate has been experiencing seismic activity and earthquakes, and
Rising
people
up
have been...
from the morphic pool.
Got his tentacles.
He's got convictions.
Mm-hmm.
He is strong, and he's also a rogue. He will kill the brain. It's the... something.
I'm trying to... How do you do...
It's... Oh, wait.
Air of
It's
the ball spawn.
Oh, that's pretty...
Yeah.
Air of the ball spawn. It's the crown of Karsus.
There you go. He's got 3 nether stones in his pocket.
If he holds them up just right, the brain will get mad, and the whole plot of the game won't matter.
Oh,
It didn't matter.
Oh, God. Oh. I was wondering how long it would take. But here we are. Baldur's
Hey, you
Gate's...
ever had someone like make you eat a dirty sock? Like it was like a nerd getting bullied in 1981 in a film? Has that ever happened to you?
I've been
narratively?
afraid it's happened.
I'm afraid it's happened to us.
Yeah. The Elder Brain pops up, and it towers. It goes directly through Baldur's Gate, rises up out of Baldur's Gate proper.
Rise up.
And we're with it. I'm trying to remember. Did we just hitch a ride? Wait, let me go back to my footage here.
We talked to it first.
Okay, we talked to it down in the morphic pool, right?
Yeah, we get there and we're like, we will command you. That's Ticklevar. I am in charge. Mm-hmm. And it says, oh, well, first thing we really find out, I guess we already know this, but it is fun that this is confirmed here, is that the narrative voice, the voice of the narrator is the Elder Brain.
Yes.
And it'll talk directly to you in the Elder Brain voice. Mm-hmm. That's fun.
Yeah, that is fun. I think it may be. Now, that is consonant with what the information we're about to find out.
Yeah.
Which is, we hold our little nether stones up, trying to like subdue the nether brain, and the Emperor's whispering to me telepathically and being like, "You got to go for it, Balthazar. You got to do it." I say, "Sure." So there's like a series of 3 checks that happen. And the first one's strength, and it's like 20. That's the first one for me. And I'm able to like spend an inspiration, make sure I get the 20. And then the checks just keep getting harder after that. Then it's like 25. Then it's 30.
Mm-hmm. And it's like dominate is the verb.
Yeah, dominate. Try to dominate it.
Use the stuff, and we've seen the bad guys of the game use the stuff.
Yeah. Now they didn't. They had it like they had the nether stones inserted into various magical artifacts. So maybe that helped.
Claws and
daggers, etc.
Suits of armor and whatnot. Yeah.
But we're just using the raw artifact. It's like kind of just holding the infinity stones instead of having them put in your fancy glove. And the final check for me was 99. Which was not possible for me to succeed in. I wasn't save scumming. And at this point, the Emperor like shows up and he's like, "Oh no, Balthazar. The Elder Brain's evolved. It's no longer."
Because it looks at you and it goes, "I am stronger than you.
I'm stronger than you." And it has a little villain speech where it's like, "Yeah, everything that's happened, that's been my plan.
I tricked them, the people who thought they had me. I tricked their ass into gathering an army for me because I'm a brain. So I can't get an army."
So it's interesting. It says the same stuff to me, but it does include a little Dark Urge exclusive content of being like, "Hey, I liked you before your brains got scrambled. We had a pretty good thing going."
That's funny.
But the second you died and like she replaced you, I was like, "Man, this is no good for me. I don't like their vibe anymore."
That's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's just you were a pawn the whole time.
I don't like their vibe, Balthazar.
Its brain's so big, everything you could have possibly done in the game, all your little inputs and commands, anticipated totally.
Yeah.
Right. It's almost as if like a person sat down and like coded your experience, or at least the container of your experience, line by line.
Like made it up.
And whatever unique, quote unquote, experience you had in the preceding, depending 40 to 120 to 300 hours, that story that you thought was so unique, no, completely planned, completely accounted for. And the brain knew it.
Yeah, you've been destroyed.
Yeah. Totally. The Emperor shows up, and the Emperor's like, "Oh man, this is no good.
It blows your ass up." The Elder Brain says, "Fuck you," and it blows you back, and then the Emperor plops out of a portal and catches you. And you remember what happened at the very beginning of the game?
Yeah, when the Emperor levitated you at the beach.
He caught you, yeah. In your moment of need.
Yeah, he's the wind beneath my wings, as it were.
I am the Emperor beneath your wings.
And he zaps us back to the, he says, "Hey, this isn't over." He tells the Elder Brain as he like
this isn't over.
Zips on out of there, absolutely, like a coward.
Yeah.
And he gets
from my perspective, this is over.
Sure.
We've been same and Havarian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what we thought was one way is a different way.
But instead of it being a slimy little sailor, it's the biggest brain in the universe, and also not just a nether brain, or no, not just a elder brain, a nether brain, like a Pokemon that's been exposed to the right ingredients, and now it's evolved. And what's really funny is it's almost as if like in the Forgotten Realms, taxonomy is so important that you can't just be like, "Oh my God, that Elder Brain, it's roided out. It's supercharged. It's super powerful." No, it needs to be a different thing. Like, it's no longer.
I do like that the Emperor speaks to you as if he's reading the monster manual to you.
Yes.
I've misunderestimated this creature. I thought it was a mere elder brain. It's, in fact, become a nether brain.
An entry that was just created.
I'm like, oh my god, I need monsters of the multiverse. I've got the fucking stock book that came in the slipcase.
How am I going to defeat this without reading this behind my DM's back?
I need the stat block. I gotta Google the stat block. During the setup. Keep doing charisma checks against it. Let me read. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. So we zap back to the Astral Prism, the D20.
Yeah.
Where do you reckon the D20 is when I zap back into the Astral Prism?
In our pocket? Oh, no. Where is it, like, live in the world?
Yeah.
That's a great question. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
It's probably not in your own pocket, right?
Then what's inside that one, right?
I mean, I guess both could be true. Mm-hmm. Because this is like what's inside the Astral Prism, what's inside the D20 is just like a slice of limbo, right?
Sure.
So there's no reason it couldn't be
infinitely recursive. Okay.
Yeah, why not? It's like the recycling symbol. You know what I mean? Like arrow pointing down, arrow pointing up, buddy. Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
I'm in there and also out here, but I don't. That's an interesting question that I don't really have an answer to.
Yeah. So anyway, we go back to the Astral Prism, and the Emperor basically tells me, "Hey, it's not me, it's you. You're the reason why this plan didn't work. You're not an illithid. I'm super smart, and the Netherbrain's super, super smart. We can think 28 moves ahead in 4D chess. But you've got a pitiful half-orc brain, a mortal brain. You can be completely hemmed in by the ironclad logic of big brain. So, the Emperor presents me with a array of choices, a veritable, menu here.
Smorgasbord.
A smorgasbord. And, some of them are like, okay, well, you could either become like an illithid so that you can be smart enough to outfox the Netherbrain, or you can just give me all the nether stones. I'll eat Orpheus's brain, absorb all of his psionic resistance power and intellect, and then we'll team up, and we'll team up me as a supercharged illithid with all of the abilities of the son of Gith, and you a really strong half-orc barbarian thief, or barbarian berserker, rogue thief, fighter champion character that's level 12, and we will team up, as partners and take on the Netherbrain. And I said, that last plan sounds pretty simple. Let's do that.
Okay, sure.
So we slurped out Orpheus's brain.
Well, that's interesting.
And I gave him the
share it, or just he does it?
He does it. I give him the nether stones. He slurps out Orpheus's brain. He's like, all right, we're good to go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay.
How'd that work for you?
Well, we didn't go slurping.
Okay.
He kind of offered me these options, and I said, I don't really want to do this. And then, Ticklevar pointed over and said, and we're boyfriend, girlfriend. I can't be. This is her guy, Pointing to Lae'zel. So I can't. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I can't be seen to, slurp her guy.
Yeah.
Or, pastor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it really put us in a bad spot. And ultimately, I said to the Emperor, hey, Buster Brown, we're not going down this road. And he said, are you sure? And I said, look, I can let him, if I let Orpheus out, he can just deal with the whole problem.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, that's his whole power is fucking up mind flayers.
Mm-hmm.
That's his whole deal. And I was like, and look, by your logic, if you got to slurp his brain to do the stuff, then his brain should be good enough on its own. Don't you think?
But isn't the Emperor's point, hey, if you release Orpheus, he's just going to see you and me as just as bad as the average illithid on the street?
Yeah, but he could kill... I don't care.
Oh.
Like, who could care about that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, has every encounter with the Gith around these tadpoles gone as bad as it possibly could? And every time I said, oh, they might help us out, they've turned on us immediately and tried to kill us? Yeah, that's happened. Has every story about the Gith been fundamentally incorrect in some way and been full of legend and lore and kind of wrecked our shit?
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Could it be different this time? Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it could be totally different this time.
Yeah.
And so, I freed him. And the Emperor looked at me and said, are you sure? And in brackets, save your game.
Yeah.
So we let him out. The Emperor fades out.
Does the Emperor have parting words as
you'll regret this?
Dang.
Zips out of existence. Flies away.
Mm-hmm.
No, I haven't really thought about this, and I guess we'll talk about it in a minute, but does freeing Orpheus mean that the Emperor just gets absorbed back into the Netherbrain? Is that what happens?
I don't think so.
I don't either. But it might.
I believe that it might lead to that eventually, but in that moment, I do not think that the Emperor immediately became a Netherbrain thrall. That is my interpretation of the events.
But what about 10 minutes later?
That's harder to say. That's a little, 10 minutes is a long time, and he did teleport, and there's no telling where he teleported to, right?
Let me see what he says here.
Yeah.
I'm going to look.
Yeah, I don't have that footage, so I can,
all right, he says... Emperor says, I told you the Githyanki would only want to kill you for what you are. Still, you choose to break our alliance. Pause. Part of the reason why I'm breaking the alliance with the Emperor is he's kind of a creep.
Mm-hmm. You said that there was some weird workplace harassment going on.
Yeah, and you can't get in my brain, control my destiny, lie to me for 15 hours of gameplay, live in my head, and then try to romance me. I will not be romanced by the guy who lives in my brain. I refuse. But anyway. Even united, the Netherbrain was going to be an impossible enemy, but apart we have no chance. He's pissed.
He needs that level 12.
Very well. Since you will not work with me, you work against me. He starts levitating into the air. You leave me no option but to join the Netherbrain. There we go. So he's not even just dominated. He is piecing the fuck out to go join the enemy.
Correct.
I guess to continue to exist or something.
Correct. He, his big brain, his big illithid brain, just makes it thinks faster than our brains can, right? So he just sees the angles and he's like, oh, well, the optimal move is to ally myself with the Netherbrain, because if I don't, we're screwed. He's like he's the Doctor Strange, and it's like there's not one alternate, there's not one scenario where we win.
Yeah. Whoever wins, we lose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, there you go. So that's what happened. So he pieces out and goes and does that. We let out Orpheus out of his big thing. Mm-hmm. He smashes out. It's a very cool cutscene. But he's pissed.
Yeah.
And you're like, uh-oh. But he's pretty understanding. He wants to kill us. And I think he kills the tadpole in my... No, he doesn't kill the tadpole in my head, but he just, he twings it to keep it from taking me over. He, continues the magic or whatever. Right? Mm-hmm. And then he says, well, shit. The only way that we're going to be able to fight this thing is for one of us to become an illithid. We need an illithid to, do this shit. And, Ticklevar puts his finger up to his nose. Not it.
Okay.
Lo and behold, Orpheus becomes an illithid.
Wow, what a sacrifice.
He sacrifices, becomes the very thing that he hates the most.
So I assume that you did not have Karlach in this party.
No, I had Karlach.
You had Karlach was there, huh?
Yeah. Didn't say
Oh.
jack shit about it.
Interesting.
Pretty sure.
In my
do a
first
gander just to make
playthrough,
sure? Yeah, Karlach's standing right here beside Jackalfire.
So it might be a matter of romance, because in my first playthrough,
Yeah, it could be.
Karlach was my primary romantic interest, and I volunteered to turn myself into an Illithid. And then Karlach was like, no, my infernal machine is like not going to last. I'm going to have to go back to hell anyway. Might as well turn into an Illithid. And it was Karlach that turned into an Illithid.
That checks out. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. But instead, Orpheus is like, well, there are no volunteers. He has to turn into an Illithid. Why? Like,
Some about, how to do it.
okay, you just gotta.
Yeah, you gotta. I don't know.
There's, you gotta. Maybe
Yeah, look, I'm not saying it's the most clear thing that ever happened in a
Gotcha.
video game. I'm just saying it did.
you gotta, in order to activate the final little mechanism, in order to like go to the final boss arena. You just have to be an Illithid.
You need someone who's willing to do the wiggle.
Okay. So, okay, you're there. You've got Orpheus as an Illithid, and I've got a Orpheus with extra steps. Actually, no, I've got an Illithid that absorbed Orpheus, and Orpheus has got you've got an Orpheus that became an Illithid. So really, it's the same thing.
Now, is your Emperor? He still looks the same.
Yeah, he looks exactly the same.
Orpheus is. I'll scroll through here and get a little screen cap for you. He's got little teensy wigglers.
Oh yeah.
He's like a guy like a skinnier head. It's interesting. Just got a different look about him.
Would that be would it be the same action figure with a little mask, or would it be, if you were at Walmart, would it be a different, like next to Orpheus, Illithid Orpheus?
Yeah, it would be Illithid. Or maybe you could like push in his chest and it would rotate his head.
Oh yeah.
Like the chest would go. There would be a head in his chest and it could rotate.
Like one of those He-Man action
and
figures.
you kind of clip the chest thing back up again. That's how I think it should work.
Okay.
Personally.
That tracks.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. There's an image for you.
Oh, yeah.
got a
It
littler
is. He's not full. I mean, he's pretty Illithid, though.
Oh yeah, he was like straight. But he just looks different.
I
visually
would
disambiguated him.
I would definitely say that's a different action figure right there.
Oh, then the Illithid?
Oh, then Orpheus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Sure.
Yeah. Well, cool. So we've each got a little Illithid buddy. And I guess we go to, we're like, okay, well, I guess it's time. We got to go back to Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate, in the meantime's having a bad time.
It's fucked up.
There's some cutscenes here. The Nether Brain is like called in the interplanar like armada of every Mind Flayer, like every disparate, vessel has been. They've got the homing beacon, and then like they've zoom, 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 and they've all like coming out of warp into the airspace around Baldur's Gate, and there's a bunch. It's bad. And then there's all these tadpole people in Baldur's Gate that like the switch got turned on, and so there's these cutscenes of people like kind of like almost Day of the Dead type stuff going on in the streets of Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, they're just like, because like 1/10 of the population's been bug brained.
It's bad.
They're just wiggling and jiggling and turning into big purple guys.
These entities go from like level 0 dirt farmers, or I don't know, like little tavern keepers and such, and they gain 6 levels immediately.
Oh, maybe more than that.
Maybe 9.
They might be getting 10 level. They're having to spend, when the tadpole turns you into a mind flayer, you got to spend at least 15 minutes leveling up.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out subclasses.
That's their big vulnerability point, actually. You got to stab them while they're just kind of zoned out.
You gotta go get the hammer, out of the basement.
Yeah. The only
Clobber
Illithids that are surviving are like the FromSoft speedrunners who are like going through character creation in like 2 seconds. Menuing.
Click, click, click.
And we go to Baldur's Gate, and we go to like a new area of Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate's like been super messed up, like just topographically. It's like we teleport, and we get our little assemble the Avengers scenes here. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you show up and there's just a bunch of people.
Yeah, it's all the friends you made along the way. The gang's all here.
Yeah, I got Kithrak Voss is there.
Whoa.
And Orpheus is there, and Kithrak Voss is like, what the fuck?
That's quite a reunion, huh?
Yeah. Well, and it's really interesting to have a game that's just based on race hate, At
the absolute fundamental level, yeah.
Yeah. It's speciation hate or whatever, right?
Sure.
But there's something, unthinkable here, which is just like, yeah, he's purple now, so, And it is interesting. Later on, Orpheus will be like, look, I'm me for now, but eventually the illithid part will take over. And you're like, what the fuck is the illithid part? There's like a species brain somewhere in there that's gonna like make you do stuff you don't want to do. And you're like, there's more mind control somehow in this game.
It's all the way down, buddy.
It's all the way down. Somebody loves it over there. I keep saying it. There's someone over there who's like, anytime anyone's like, we can't solve there's a narrative problem here. Why does the space hamster spend so much time with him? And someone there at Larian said, well, what about mind control? What if he's controlling his brain? And they go, that's it. You got it. Thank God. Thank God we got them on the team.
Yeah. So I walk in. I got Withers. Yeah, I got some members of the Flaming Fist.
You got Bjorn.
I've got Bjorn. I've got Counselor Floric that I freed from jail. She's there. She's like, hey, I'll help you out.
I've got Counselor Floric. Yeah, we didn't talk about that side quest really.
About just popping her out of jail. Yeah, it didn't take up very long. I've got Lorokin. He's got his arcane artillery. He's ready to help out.
I've got Randolph, or whatever his name was, but that guy.
I've got Auntie Ethel just hanging out in the room here.
Fuck, I forgot you have Auntie Ethel.
I've got Saravok right next to Auntie Ethel, like waiting for her to finish her monologue of like why she's helping me. He's there, and he's like, "Hey, your father sent me to aid you again, chosen one."
The worst pieces of shit in the whole Forgotten Realms is hanging. Baby eating Aunt Ethel.
Yeah.
You got serial murderer Saravok. Not like serial murder trainer Saravok.
Yeah,
right.
He's a trainer of trainers. He's like the head TOT. Yeah, and he's like, yeah, let us bathe in the way in blood. And then I've got Ulma, the head of the vampire hunters of the Gur.
And she's cool. Okay, fine, whatever.
And there's like a little kobold merchant here from the, I think this is the guy from the fair, right?
Why is he there?
Yeah, he's just there. It's cold.
Did you do him a solid?
Oh, wait, no, this is a ballist, actually. It's just, a ballist kobold selling
This is a
some
ball
stuff.
cultist?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's neat.
Cole the Red, yeah. And that's it. It's actually not, it's not a deep bench, but it's, it's strong.
Yeah. It's not deep, but it's real.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's a funny thing to do.
It's also just with Saravok, there's like a couple of other ballists, and you can talk to them. And one is like Unholy Assassin Michia. She's just wearing a bandit mask, and she's like, hell yeah, we'll do unholy service in your father's name.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I got Jaheira.
Okay.
I've got Duke Ravengard.
Okay.
I got Bjorn from the Flaming Fist.
Mm-hmm.
I've got Withers, like you said. I'm trying to see who else I got here. Gosh, the ASMR and her girlfriend.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What's her name?
Night Song.
Night Song. I've got Nine Fingers.
Oh, yeah.
I got Volo.
Whoa.
You got Volo? You got Volo.
No, he ran out when I said I'm the son of Ball and I'm going to kill everybody. And he's like, all right, I'm not going to be here anymore.
I'm not going to be here when you do that. Oh, Volo. Doing that. I also have Ulma for some reason. That's fun. They'll just show up. I think that's it. I think that's all I got. And then, so this is an interesting thing. So you have the opportunity, you get the chance to do like a big old speechifying here, right?
I do.
Because someone's got to like boost everybody up, get them ready. Because Baldur's Gate's messed up. There's dragons flying around in the sky, and there's a big brain hanging out, and there's Mind Flayer ships. So you need someone to like give everyone a little boosty boost.
Yeah.
But is that you?
I say to blood, death, and slaughter, a fight well fought, and a brain well burned. And then I pump my fist in the air. And I do like a weird smiley face. And then Bjorn says, well said, as he's like in the rogues gallery of rogues gallery, as he's surrounded by the most nefarious figures in the world.
Who ever lived.
Yeah, and then I get a little tutorial box that say, hey, you've got a new button called Call Forth Allies, and you can smash that button to summon some of the people in this room for their help.
Yeah, it takes your action for that turn.
Yeah.
It should be very clear about that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's
meaning that it's basically, if you have like a full team, it's basically suboptimal to ever use this. Because 9 times out of 10, it's better just to attack.
Sure. I think the only way it could be optimal is if you knew you're going to be in combat for the next 9 rounds, and the thing you're summoning is a persistent force that will stick around for that time, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's not a thing that you would ever want to do in a brief skirmish.
No.
And then we kind of get to...
So the reason I was asking, the reason I was asking about your speech.
Okay.
Is that I have Jaheira in my party.
Oh.
And I have an option that says, look to Jaheira.
Oh, and just let her do it.
She gives the speech.
Oh, did you do that?
And she's like, I was with the fucking ball spawn back then. I was with the hero of Baldur's Gate. A bunch of people, you know who I am. I've been down this road before with a big apocalyptic battle. More than one time. It's not that weird to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fun little speech. It'll be in the video here. But, yeah. She talks about burying Khalid.
Oh.
Yeah. She's like, he died 100 years ago, and I still remember it. There's some cool stuff in there. It's a really great... It's one of the moments where I think this game remembers it as a Baldur's Gate game.
Yeah.
And leans into that in a way that's very cool, which is that it gives really nice context. Gives really nice form to it. Also, looking here at the thing, I also have, what was his name? Roland? The
guy who took over the Wizard Tower, right?
Oh, so I had Roland, but what's the other guy's name who, helped all the refugees?
Oh, the Hell Rider.
Yeah.
Zevlor.
That guy. Zevlor's here.
He's back.
Also Yurgir.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, Yurgir's just standing around. That's my whole team.
Okay. That's a big team.
It is a big team.
Oh, none of the gnomes, huh?
That finished without glitching. Like, in terms of, like, it worked.
Yeah.
But I don't know if all the flags got tripped correctly.
Gotcha. I think there needs to be a final confrontation between Wolbrin and, and Barkus. Gotcha. And, like, you can choose, I think, in that conversation to, like, back Barkus, and then Barkus basically, like, soft coups Wolbrin. And becomes the new leader, in which case you could, like, get there.
Yeah, I don't think I closed the loop on that.
Yeah. But yeah, so we, how do you want to talk about the series of battles you can have between now and clicking on the MacGuffin to, like, confront the Elder Brain? Because... do you want me to...
There's like a couple Mind Flayer battles you can have.
Yeah. I didn't have any of them.
You didn't do any of them?
No, not really. No.
Really?
Yeah, I just it's just me and my old pal Baldur, and so we just like turned invisible and like snuck past all this.
Oh.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah, we just got on the roof of the building. We had our gather your allies moment, and then we both have Illithid fly, right? Because I'm half Illithid, he's full Illithid. And we just kind of flew over to the rampart, and then I watched the patrol happen. And the patrol goes back and forth, and I waited for them to like be on the far side, and then we swooped up, and eventually you get to this spire where there some artillery starts being shot into Baldur's Gate, so like a trigger happens and like some enemies spawn, but you can just kind of run past them at that point. And once you're past them, you're able to like climb the brainstem up to the Netherbrain final combat arena.
Well, I fought all these.
It's a lot. You fought all this?
Yeah, I fought all. Fought all of it.
And what's wild is they're kind of patrols, so you'll be in a fight and then like, oh no, here's another 6 ads or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you summon any of your allies during this time?
Nope.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I didn't.
How did that fight treat you? Did you enjoy that?
I think this fight is fine. I don't find it onerous. It just takes forever. It's like a full 45-minute fight.
Yeah.
And that's not particularly exciting. But between here and like triggering the cutscene to do the next major event, there's not a lot that's interesting. There is a very action gamey kind of thing where the Mind Flayer ships are firing big boom booms down on you, and like that happens in a timer, so you could go turn-based mode, right?
Yeah, and you've got an idea of like the area they're about to bombard, and you can kind of like avoid that. It's a little gamey. Yeah. But anyway, you get up to the brainstem after all of this, and I guess as a one thing, I went back and looked at my footage. I actually did this twice. The first time I stealthed so effectively that I skipped the cutscene of the bombardment, and I got up to the brainstem, and I was not able to progress because the flag wasn't flipped.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I was like too stealthy. I did not alert people, or I like got there too quickly with the fly ability.
Shit, you know?
So I ended up having to just do it again and be less stealthy. But yeah, you get to the final point, and they've got like the classic Mind Flayer pod that you can regenerate all your health from, and like do like a rest via the pod. Mm-hmm. And then you go to the part 2 of the final climactic fight, which is on a weird brain platform, like on top of the Elder Brain, basically. Is this your read of it? We're like floating way above Baldur's Gate on top of the Elder Brain.
Yeah. There's a big old platform up there.
Yeah, there's a big old platform up there, and a giant red dragon falls.
That's where once you get up there.
Yeah.
And it like tries to flee, so you're like even higher above.
Correct.
And then once you're up there, you see the crown.
You see the crown of Karsus hovering around a glowing orb, which is...
And you got to go touch that orb.
You got to go touch the orb. Maybe that's the reason why you have to have the... somebody has to be an Illithid, because I think it's the Illithid itself that must channel...
Touch the orb.
That must channel the orb, yeah.
Channel the orb.
It's kind of funny. A big red dragon lands... and, like a bunch of ads land. And I'm chilling here with Emperor. It's just me and the Emperor. And he's like, hey, there's the nether stones. There's the nether crown. You gotta go get that. And the nether brain starts talking to me. And the nether brain calls me a spectacular specimen. But I get the vibe that the nether brain just wants to kind of add me to its collection. But it's weird.
You don't want that.
It's weird. There's something about the cutscene where the dragon lands where like the perspective's not quite right. So you'll see in the footage this little bit where the dragon lands, and it looks like it's a tiny drake at my feet because there's just the contrast between where it's landing and what I'm standing on is not really communicated in the cutscene. But yeah, so basically I land and there's like 4 illithids, a body, like a weird podling mimic of some sort of me. It's not really of me. It's like some lady, and a dragon and some other entity. So yeah, I just kind of flew past all of this stuff and cast greater invisibility. And then I had the Emperor channel the orb, and then I cast greater invisibility on the Emperor again. I think I may have called upon Auntie Ethel because she also had a charge of greater invisibility.
So you didn't do this fight?
No, I skipped the fight, dude. You can just click the thing. Did you fight this fight?
Yeah.
Why'd you fight the orb's right here? It tells you, oh, we got to get the orb.
There's a dragon in the way.
Well, yeah, you fought past it.
And a bunch of dream people.
Well, yeah, but it's turn-based.
And also
they can't
the goddamn Emperor.
Well, the Emperor's my buddy. Oh, the Emperor appears and fights you here?
Yes. The Emperor shows up. He flies in on the fucking dragon.
Does he say anything?
Yeah, he says, I'm going to summon up all your dream dudes. My dream dude shows up and he says, I know all your weaknesses. And I think my weaknesses are just like physical damage,
Arrows,
fireball. You know what I mean? I don't
skeletal archers.
Yeah, they're not scary. They're not unique. They're the same thing everything's weak to.
Yeah. Gravity.
Things piercing your flesh or burning you or shocking you or freezing your muscles from your bones. It's not complicated.
But what Emperor is saying is he's read your stat block.
I've read your. I came prepared. I know that you can. I know you have gloves of spell snaring or whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I just fucking fought the fight.
Yeah.
I'm an adult.
Mm-hmm. It's fun. Did you gather your allies? Did you call them in?
But you don't. So here's a little bit of trickiness, actually.
Gotcha.
You can. So you channel the thing to like open the portal.
Correct.
And then you go somewhere.
Yeah.
You go into like the brain space of the ultra brain.
Everybody knows that within a nether brain, metaphysically,
yeah,
there's a pocket plane where the real brain lives, like a homunculi.
I think it's more of like, you know, like if you're like a martial wizard.
Okay.
And you can punch someone. No, it's like, what if someone's soul were stored on the ethereal plane?
Okay.
You know, what are those things called? The creepy crawly guys from the Lord of the Rings. What are they called? On the horses.
Oh, the Nazguls.
The Nazgul. You know how Frodo puts on that ring and they got a different look.
Yeah.
You know, and he's got it, and they stab him in the shadow realm, and it hurts like way more. Get stabbed in the shadow realm.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like that to me is like what's going on here. There's like this world behind the world where you can really fuck them up.
Yeah, but
like
notably, it's kind of interesting because the world within a world is a series of floating patterns, or platforms rather.
Yeah.
And there's a brain. It's like a Toyota Sienna size brain, like a minivan.
Sure.
And it's floating there, and I guess that's like it's called the unbreakable will of the nether brain. And then in the background, you see like the nether brain's weird face looking at you, like way back there in the background that you can't touch. Mm-hmm. It's observing you, fighting its.
She's looking at you,
fighting its will, fighting her indomitable will.
Yeah,
and yeah, so. Yeah, that's interesting. But I guess what you were saying is the weird thing is when you zap in, it's only the person that like actually touches that nether brain portal that goes.
Yeah.
And the moment you get in,
if you try to like just scuttle your way up there and hop it, you congratulations, you split the party.
Sure.
And now that dragon's gonna beat you up.
Yeah, I see the
see what I'm saying?
difficulty with the full party. Yeah. You've
So
got
you kind of can't just like leave one person at a time.
Gotcha. Except I can.
Yeah, you could. I'm just saying, like, one could. One should not. How about that? That's
Gotcha.
really what I'm saying. One would be making an error to do such.
It will, yeah. I think with most parties, because once you zap in, it says there's a little counter that starts appearing. We haven't seen. This only shows up like twice in the game. It shows up in the tutorial, and it shows up at the Iron Throne, which I didn't go to, but you did, of like turns remaining. And it says the brain is resisting the chains of Karsus. Defeat it before it breaks free.
So that's the other trickiness to it, which is that you have to have a high enough damage output on the other side.
Yes.
So basically, you kind of have to get the whole party basically up at the portal.
Correct.
And then teleporting in all at one time. If you're playing, I think, a traditional standard playthrough.
You absolutely do. No, you need as much of your DPS in the portal at the same time because you've got 5 turns to burn it down. And if your party inside, what happens outside kind of does not matter once you have one party member inside. So, no, you're correct. It just so happens that between the Emperor with greater invisibility and Balthazar, I'm able, there's no barrier to me entering this area at the same time, 2 turns into this fight. And what's great is there's no ads. All that it is like basically every turn the Elder Brain nukes one of the platforms. So you're like the space you have to be anywhere is slowly winnowing down, in addition to the brain just damaging you with little mental abilities and such.
Yep.
Yeah, there's the Elder Brain's summoning these mental bombs, if you will, and it'll highlight what platforms are going to get zapped away.
Yep.
But I'm really glad that both myself and the Emperor have the fly ability, just as a movement action.
Yep.
I recall from my first playthrough, navigating these platforms were a little tricky.
Yeah, that's a word. That's a word for it, for sure.
Because, especially if you have 4 people, oftentimes these, the ability to delete the platforms will delete 2 at a time. And
yep, it will.
So you want the party spread out, but also the arena's big enough that you can't heal somebody from on the other side of it. So yeah, it's I imagine that would have been kind of tricky.
You would imagine, right?
Yeah. But yeah, the Unbreakable Will of the Netherbrain starts with 300 hit points. And I am just looking at what Balthazar's doing in an attack. Let's see what we're doing here. He's at full, she's at full health. I got an 85% chance. Oh, that's the Emperor. Okay, the Emperor's doing 40 damage. So that's pretty good with a little electric zappy ability. And Balthazar is doing, that's 259. He's throwing the Nyrulna. It's really frustrating because I have to aim behind the Unbreakable Will of the Netherbrain because of the arc of my throwing weapon.
Oh, right.
And I am doing 259 down to 175.
Huh.
Yeah. And then that's my first attack. And then second attack, 175 down to 162. So that's a little bit of a less one. So yeah, we get this done in 2 turns, I think.
Well, I'm happy for you. I'm happy it worked out that way.
Yeah, it sounds like it was just a little bit more frustrating on your end.
It's not frustrating. It's just a lot of if-then kind of stuff, right? If you complete the first part of the fight, then you get all your people around the orb. Then, one by one, you teleport in. That starts the timer. That also starts the timer for blowing up the platforms. Then you gotta start jumping down those platforms. And then, you know what I mean? There's just a bunch of, if you mess up, there's a little bit of a margin for error here, but there's not a huge margin for error, I would say. And I don't find that particularly interesting.
It's also a little new for the game, right? I can't recall a series of encounters that kind of did this, right?
I mean, we're kind of being set up for it as a thing here at the very end by like the Mind Flayer ships with the cannons and stuff. That's kind of this flavor of,
Sure.
Predicting time and then movement in a particular way. But yeah, it is a different, whatever, like bit of combat here at the end for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not mad about it or anything. It's just a little annoying.
Did you before you zapped in? Did you finish the fight? You killed the dragon. You killed all the other things, or did you have you were kind of like in the mop up stage?
I think that if I'm remembering correctly, there's a couple mind flayers that show. I don't know if they start the fight. I think they show up a couple like a couple turns in, maybe, or maybe they do start the fight. I can't remember. And I don't think I'd finished killing them. I think what I ended up doing is summoning one of the, maybe like Yurgir, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I think I summoned Yurgir and then a Planetar. And they were like finishing the fight out there while the rest of my team was finishing the fight inside. I think that's the way it worked. There's just some, interesting stuff around that too.
Gotcha. But yeah, so after you get the, you defeat the indomitable will of the Elder Brain.
Yeah.
It appeals to you. It's like, hey, don't kill me. We can work together. You can wield me as a weapon. That would be pretty useful, huh? And it's like, it's begging for its life. It doesn't want to die.
No.
And for me, it's saying like, hey, it's telling me, hey, claim me in your father's name. You gotta claim the brain. You don't need to destroy the brain. It knows that, there's another part of me that is kind of like thinking about what my dad would want.
Yeah.
Which is causing the most murder possible. And the Emperor's standing next to me, and the Emperor's got the nether stones, and they're like twirling around in a Triforce, and the Emperor's like, hold on, I'm going to tell this thing to kill itself. I'm going to tell this, he's trying to command it to die, kind of like Ticklevar in Act 2.
Yeah.
And that's when the thought occurs to me, I was like, this is my moment, and I get a choice. I can either defy my father and tell the Emperor, yeah, kill it, or betray the Emperor and seize the stones. So I pull out a dagger from my back pocket. It's a nice little animation here. It's a nice little cutscene. And I stab him like directly in his side, and he bends over. Ah! And he's like on his knees, and then I like just shank the hell out of him. I pull up on his side, and I'm like just repeatedly stabbing him in the chest.
Dang, Balthazar.
And that's the end of Baldur. That's the end of his saga for realsies.
That is the end of Baldur's saga. Wow.
Yeah. So I claim the Nether Stones, and the Elder Brain's like, yeah, we're gonna kill a lot of people together.
Whoa. Really?
And there's a brief little cutscene before the credits of me sitting on a big captain's chair on top of the Nautiloid, or on top of the Elder Brain, and like a bunch of dragons are flying around, and I'm just kind of like looking around, and I'm smiling. I'm smiling as the Nether Brain and everything like teleports. I'm like psionically causing all of these Gith on dragons to like fall to the ground, and all of the there's a bunch of little scenes of all the mind flayers in the streets of Baldur's Gate killing everybody, and they all fly up.
Damn,
and they all come to me, and the last things I say before the credits is, in Ball's name. Now,
my papa.
Here's I don't know if we want to get to yours before we get to my question, but my question would be, like, what's protecting me psionically from the Elder Brain at this point?
Ooh, largesse. I guess the knowledge that the Elder Brain has that if it challenged you, that you could just obliterate it with your brain thoughts. But that is interesting, because what happens for me, right, is that in the last moment, Ticklevar is able to like overcome and then make the Nether Brain destroy itself.
Okay.
So, I don't know, dude.
Yeah. But I mean, at that time, at the time you did that, Orpheus is around, right? Protecting you.
Yeah.
But I guess the thing is, perhaps the reason why this works is that I broke its will, right? I went into the Netherbrain and I depleted the entity known as its indomitable will to 0 hit points.
Yes.
So I am now in a position to tell it what to do.
Yes.
So I did that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And that is the credits of Baldur's Gate 3. Now, you earlier
No, it's not.
For me it is.
Well, that's great. That's not for me.
Okay.
I have a whole little ending.
Okay. What's your ending, buddy?
We're all hanging out on the docks.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's
Oh, you don't want me to tell you about it?
no. I do want you to tell because this is technically not the epilogue. Like
It's not the
there's a
epilogue.
separate
This is
thing.
the ending.
That's
and in the
the
next
ending.
episode, we'll have one more episode where we talk about the epilogue.
Okay.
In the ending, we're all standing on the docks of Baldur's Gate. That big ass brain fell out of the sky, splurp right into the harbor. A bunch of farmers and goat herds and goblins of all sorts beat Mind Flayer ass up and down the street. You know, we got all these images of it. We're standing on the docks. We're having a grand old time. We're good because we also fell out of the air in some hijink images. The people who are part of my party, they're all standing around. Orpheus is there. Orpheus says, "I'm a Mind Flayer now. You must kill me." And then he turns to Lae'zel, and he's like, "Bro, you gotta do the thing I was gonna do. You're charged with becoming the big bad Mind Flayer Slayer.
I was the guy, but now you've got to be the guy.
You were the guy now." Yeah, basically that's what happened, which is pretty cool. It's
Yeah.
pretty neat. She's all about it. They have a nice conversation. He's like, "You gotta kill me now." And initially I was like, "Hey, dude, like, why? Right? Like, you're you." And then that's when he hits me with but I can feel it in my brain, like the Mind Flayer taking over. Like, it's not, whatever the Mind Flayers are up to, it's not cultural. It's biological. Like, they gotta, whatever, you know, they gotta take slaves. And they gotta subjugate, you know, it's like they're
At that
like
Antarctic,
some other thing that doesn't exist.
yeah,
you
at
know? I
that
don't know.
Antarctic base, the thing did not have a political agenda. It was just doing what the thing does.
Yeah, but that doesn't really line up with anything else that we've seen about the Mind Flayers, who did have like political
An
agendas.
empire had an empire that was based on
like a whole
slavery.
empire.
And
It's a fascinating kind of interpretation of the whole Mind Flayer deal, in which they have a biological imperative to create a like multiverse spanning slave empire. And you're just like, well, that's just what they do. That's like in them. They
Yeah.
just do that. Maybe what he's saying is like that's maybe one part of it. Maybe the other part of it is that when you're a pre-existing consciousness and you get brain bugged and you get turned into a Mind Flayer, that's like a separate consciousness that's trying to take you over. That was what the bug was.
or
know what I
maybe
mean?
he's just saying this stuff because he's so speciesist, right? He's never going to be able to let it go.
I mean, he's like, my people will never accept me. And Ticklevar has an option to be like, well, even though you like can't experience it, you can at least see it, right? And it's like, damn, we think very poorly of the GIF. But you know, I don't, and you can persuade him. There's like a persuasion check. I didn't take the persuasion check. I just killed him.
Wow. Oh, Lae'zel beheaded him?
No, I did it.
Oh,
Ticklevar
God.
gave it to him. Yeah. First melee combat of the game.
That's interesting. I would have assumed Lae'zel would have been like, nah, it's it's got to be the...
Yeah, wouldn't that have made sense? Yeah, here, I'm with you. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So that
would
loop's
check that.
closed. Orpheus resolved. Dead.
Yeah. Orpheus finished. R.I.P. to him. Asterion is there. Asterion, for some reason. Asterion goes, Oh my golly, gosh, gee willikers. I'm a vampire. Now I can't be out in the sunlight no more. I'm on fire. And then he tumbles off screen in the most comical way.
Wow.
The
yeah.
first area.
Okay. As we both remembered it from our first playthrough, I remember that was the lasting impression.
Bewildering to me. Mm-hmm. Karlach is there, and her like infernal machine is burning out. Now, I have not heard a single thing about Karlach's infernal machine in her chest for roughly 15 hours of gameplay.
Okay.
Since I like came to whatever the blacksmith's name is, and they like have a conversation, he like stabilizes
Damon.
it or whatever.
Yeah.
Damon. Yeah. That, which I did as soon as I got to Baldur's Gate 3, or to Baldur's Gate, the town. Sorry. Haven't heard about this in eternity. And it's just back now, and it's a real, she's calling you soldier, she's got that thing, and it's a big, it is a really big and powerful, profound, dramatic hit that I think if you have no time invested in this character is weird.
Okay.
If you have some time invested in the character, it's pretty good. Mm-hmm. I think it like works. It's the best written, I think, of any of the final scenes.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I think that's the only people I have there. I don't think Jaheira's there.
Shadowheart's not there?
I don't think so. Let me look here. Let me check it out. Because you don't have anything. You have nothing.
I described what it was. It was me on the throne.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But Asterion, he's liquefied.
Yeah, Listerian's liquefied.
Gale's dead.
Yes.
Yeah, everyone's dead, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking here. Oh, Minsk and Jaheira are there.
Okay.
And they're like, we'll rebuild Baldur's Gate.
Great.
Yeah. Jaheira says, I suppose there's more work to do. What is to be done? And then we scroll to the sun, and then they stop talking.
Mm-hmm.
Asterion, Karlach, big hit here. I got nothing for Shadowheart.
Okay.
Nothing.
Well, I guess you close the loop in the House of Hope. Or
Yeah.
They're not the House of Hope, the House of Grief.
She's not. I don't even think she's standing here. Weird.
Okay.
I didn't even think about this until you brought it. No, she is standing here. She is here
Yeah.
physically. Mm-hmm. But nope, nothing to say to me. Interesting.
Yeah. All right. And that was, I remember, the first time, there was no epilogue the first time we played this game.
Yeah.
This was it. This was the way it ended. And I think we were both, in your word, bewildered.
I think I said literally, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like,
is the end of this game?
especially like if you are keeping up and like Asterion is one of your favorite characters and you've like really gone deep on Asterion, which neither of us have,
No.
It's just how it is, but you
But I
can.
imagine that's a thing that people have done in the world.
It's definitely a thing that people have done, and we've heard a lot of the feedback, and we've chatted a little bit about like what you can, where Asterion can go as a character that's like the central part, as you talked about how mind controls everything, but somebody who didn't have their autonomy and was deeply abused and
really
faced their abuser and then kind of like had this agonizing choice about taking up the power of his abuser and how that shakes out. I guess I'm thinking about it now. I guess if he goes forward with doing Cazador's ritual, he can't react adversely to the sunlight. It would be a completely different.
He has a different ending for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe for the epilogue we can look at that.
Interesting, but yeah, I mean the kind of canonical good ending where he does not become like a super vampire is like the ultimate deflationary move.
Yeah, it's a really weird little gag.
Yeah. So that was it from my playthrough circa the patch that we played. However, I will this week load up my last save on Baldur's Gate 3 and double check to make sure there aren't any supplemental cutscenes, because I think that a patch might have like included some kind of epilogue content for the Dark Urge.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe. I can't make any hard guarantees. I have not experienced them yet.
Because you don't know.
Because I just don't. I'm not 100% sure. Hard to know. Might be that there's not really anything if you don't have party members. Who knows? We'll figure it out.
Right.
But I know for a fact that you probably had like a camp scene, like an epilogue. Oh, sometime later we hang out. Right?
Yeah. Big one.
Yeah. So you got a big one. So we will reconvene and talk through the epilogues and kind of give our final reflection of this big ol' Baldur's Gate 3 experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
We will do that.
We will do that. Any closing remarks?
Roses are red. Violets are blue. The big brain is silly.
And so is Boo.
Too. Oh!
Ciao.
Boo is silly.
He's really silly.
Wise. Fancy. Wise. Fancy. Wise.
So saith the wise alone.